welcome to History Adventuring. This is episode number 85. I'm Brad Hall, and today we're looking at the amazing American nickel candy bar. Something that I keep noticing when I'm looking at historic photos is a lot of things sold for nickel, and they did so for a very long time, like candy bars. This image, which I found on the Duke University website ROAD, Resource of Outdoor Advertising Descriptions, is from 1935, and that Jack Dempsey candy bar was a nickel. Note the comparison to a 10-cent bar on the label, but I've never seen a 10-cent bar. I wasn't alive in 1935, but I was 30 years later, in the 1960s, as a kid. And I remember that you could get a candy bar for a nickel. Maybe not as large as a Jack Dempsey bar, but still a good-sized candy bar. They really didn't start getting smaller and then more expensive until the early 1970s. I definitely remember people complaining about it. The price of gas went up too. But here's what's amazing to me. You could buy a candy bar for a nickel in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, while everything else got more expensive, like cars, houses, you name it. I really have no answer for this, unless the technology of making candy bars got less expensive, like it did for calculators and computers. It might have been done in a sneaky way by making the candy bars smaller and smaller over the years. People just didn't notice the same way they would have noticed if the prices suddenly jumped to 6 cents or 7 cents. But it was such a slow process of downsizing. When candy bars started to get so much smaller, the average person could see it, and most people noticed. By the way, my favorite candy bar cheated it by being braided. I'm not kidding. It was a neat trick that made the bar look bigger in the package, but actually there were a lot of holes. It was called a marathon bar. After that, as prices went up and up in the 1970s, it got to a point where there were no more tricks, and candy bars not only went to a dime, but remained smaller. This kind of thing goes on, the most recent trick being candy bars that went from square corners to rounded corners. That adds up, you know. And people get used to it, the way they got used to the trick Coca-Cola used after the price of sugar went up after World War I. They pinched the middle of the bottle so they could put less product in it, but the bottle was still the same height. Well, now I'm hungry for some chocolate. I wonder if I can find a Jack Dempsey bar. It's a knockout. This has been History Adventuring. I'll talk to you later.